My name is Mannrentoy. I've been a teacher for 34 years, and I've served as principal of Intermediate School of Southridge. I started a school in Iloilo called Westbridge School. I was the first director there, and the last few years, 11 years, I've been going around the Philippines, reaching out to teachers like you in order to um, campaign for character formation. I mean, really, the bottom line message is we would like everyone to make character formation a top priority because this is where the crisis is right now. And suddenly, last year, we were thrown into this situation of, yan, magturo ka online, whether you like it or not. I just spent the whole morning, this morning, with the 450 teachers of Holy Angel University. And what I said to them, I'd like to say to all of you, please be forgiving with yourself. This is not what we were trained to do. This is not what we learned in the School of Education. So, some of you who may be thinking, I did not teach as well last year as I did in the 20 years I've been inside the classroom. Of course, because things are different. Para bang we are at war right now. And como en la guerra, well, work as in war. We are at war right now with an enemy that we are not seeing, that we cannot see. And so, please be very forgiving with yourself as we are very understanding with our students. Here's something right away that I want you to have in mind. Please don't entertain those thoughts na ito kaya mga batang to, ginagawa lang excuse yung mahina ang internet, yung namatay da yung wifi niya, yung wala daw siyang, hindi niya raw mabuksan ang kanyang video kasi naka-data lang siya. Please don't entertain those thoughts na iniisahan lang kayo ng estudyante ninyo. You are punishing yourself unnecessarily. Take their word for it. It's their loss if you um, do not creatively put in place certain things so that they will have to follow you synchronously or asynchronously. Creatively come up with ways that in spite of, let's say, hindi sila makakonect, they will still have to find a way of being able to read on their own, do the activity on their own, do the project on their own, but do not anymore punish yourself with thoughts like, baka naman niloloko lang akong mga batang to. Nakikinig ba sila? Baka naman nakabukas ang Facebook habang kunyari nakikinig sa akin dito sa online class. Don't entertain those thoughts because you are just unnecessarily punishing yourself. After all, kahit ako mismo, kahit tayo mismo, na-experience natin to. Biglang bumagsak ang internet. Biglang humina ang smart, ang globe, ang converge. I mean, all of us can be victims of this um, poor internet, poor connection. After all, the Philippines is not exactly one of the best in the world, okay? Kahit anong sabihin ng smart globe converge, we are not among the best performing internet providers in the world. So, let's be very understanding. Kasi, totoo yun. Totoong nahihirapan ng ibang tao. Totoong hindi kasing lakas ang kanilang internet sa bahay. Let's be very understanding. Let's be very forgiving. Do not punish yourself unnecessarily with thoughts like that. Now, sabi nitong quotation dito, we keep calling this generation digital natives as if all of them are wizards at everything computerized, as if they're the experts in the world. Well, they're not. They need personal support, scaffolding, and reassurance that technology does not provide. It's simply a tool, not a teacher. Tayo pa rin. We still are the ones who, by design, will make learning happen, will make understanding happen. And then we're going to get into strategies, many strategies. I hope that I can share with you in the 2 hours that we will be together. I've invited a friend over to also share with us some of the things he learned in his 1.5 years of doing this online. After all, we've all been thrown into this, forced into this situation. We have to do the best we can. Sabi ng title natin, Best Practices from All Over. And I've gathered here a number of strategies from here and there, different resources. So expect certain ideas to keep on coming back again and again because it's different experts who recommend them. Okay? So, repetition of certain ideas simply means ang daming nagre-recommend, ang daming experts nagsasabi, gawin nyo to. This is effective for online learning, for online teaching. Number one, consider how your course impacts student well-being. I mean, let's be very conscious of the fact that kung tayo nahihirapan sa sitwasyon na to, students too are grappling. Not all of them are experts in the first place in technology, and not all of them have the resource like many people have to get fiber connection, to have converge, to have 100 Mbps. Some of them really are relying on data. Maybe they have Wi-Fi at home, but every so often it may not be as efficient, or they themselves. Um, I mean, there are other people in the house who may be using their strong Wi-Fi, and they are left with their own connection. That impacts student well-being. 1 week after nagbukas ang school year last year, I contacted a friend teacher. And you know what he told me? He was getting exhausted, exasperated, frustrated just 1 week after nagbukas ang school year of these online classes. I mean, he was already suffering. 1 week pa lang. And worse, sabi niya, meron siyang isang estudyante. He's teaching in an all-boys school. Meron daw siyang isang estudyante, 1 week after nagbukas yung school year, nang hingi ng chat, confidential chat, gustong mag-open up ng bata. So he had to contact him. They had to talk in Zoom platform. And the guy, the kid, I mean the grade 11 student broke down. He actually started crying, feeling frustrated, angry, helpless about the situation. He didn't like the online setup because this online learning is bringing about a certain feeling of isolation to everyone. Sure, connected tayo sa Zoom, but this is just not the same. This is not human anthropologically. Hindi ito ang what we have been created to be. I mean, we're created to be with other people, interacting, which is the explanation for bakit ganito ang ating muka. The eyes are looking forward with arms that are capable of putting around the shoulders of another person. Itong the way we are created is to be with other human beings, which the pandemic is depriving us of. So, mental health is a real thing. We have to keep that in mind. That's why, even in your demands, please, hindi ito parang, kasi ganito yung nakita ko among some older teachers in the university where I'm teaching in also, yung mga, yung talagang really very old teachers, okay? You're not old. You're all young here. Pero we have some old teachers na suddenly thrown into this situation. Ang akala nila, what they used to do inside the classroom, madali lang, ilipat mo lang sa online. No. Yung bang, yung 3-hour lecture nila inside the classroom, ay di, okay, ibibigay ko lang on. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. In fact, if I have a better way, I wouldn't want a 2-hour, solid hour like this na we're together. That's why I make it a point in the middle of these 2 hours, I have to give a break. Even just one or two songs from Libera or from One Voice Choir, One Voice Children's Choir, because we're human beings. We need a bit of rest. And moreover, science tells us um, with rest, then we will be able to begin again at our peak because we all get tired. I mean, 15 minutes after I've started this lecture, our attention can be going down a bit compared to our attention 15 minutes ago. It's just the same with the students. It impacts the well-being, the mental health, the concentration, the focus. In other words, that's a very important point I've just given. Doing online teaching is not the same as, I mean, it's not as simple as what we were doing inside the classroom. We simply transfer to Zoom. No, let's put also ourselves in the shoes of our students. I know this is something that also you are experiencing. Nasa bahay ka, and therefore you are also expected to do house chores that you used to do after office hours. Ikaw pa rin ang nagsasaing, ikaw pa rin ang inaasahang maghugas ng pinggan, kasi nasa bahay ka. That's why this work from home is causing everyone stress. Not just the students, not just the teachers, everyone is affected. Everyone who is working from home. Um, at least pag pumunta ka ng office, oh, you're exempted from home work. I mean, house chores because you're not in the house. Pero ngayon, nasa bahay ka. That's why many are feeling parang doubly stress. Bakit ganun? Pagod na pagod ako. Hindi naman ako naghabol ng jeepney para makapunta ng eskwelahan, which is what we used to do pag kailangan tayong magpunta ng eskwelahan. Hindi naman ako nag-drive sa traffic. Yeah, but the mindset that now I need to do work in the office because may kailangan tapusin. But I'm also at home. It's now time para magsaing at maghugas ng pinggan at maglinis at kailangan ko pang bantayan ngayon yung anak ko who is also doing online studies. Everyone is stressed. But the students too are stressed. Aba, iho, nasa bahay ka. Magtrabaho ka. And then they will say, may kailangan akong tapusin na asynchronous requirement. Minsan ang mga magulang ganun din. Anong asynchronous ka dyan? Nasa bahay ka, tumulong ka. I mean, we also cannot fully free ourselves of the thought na, yeah, itong online schooling, ang iniisip ng parents is pagka hindi synchronous, oh, you can do that reading requirement anytime. You can do that writing anytime. So, tumulong ka sa bahay. We are all in this weird situation where we effectively are trying to do two things simultaneously, working from home for the teachers and house chores also. The same thing with the students. Let's put ourselves in their shoes. Here's another thing. Ma'am, hindi lang naman ikaw ang subject na in-enrollan nila. Hindi lang ikaw ang subject na kinukuha nila. Especially senior high school. Aba, may 7 subjects silang kinukuha. Grade 5, meron pa rin silang 7 subjects na kinukuha. So, kung magbigay ka naman ng project or ng assignment, wag naman yung parang gusto mong karirin nila yung subject mo na parang yun lang ang kanilang kailangan gawin sa buhay. There are other things also that the other subjects may also be requiring from them. That's a very important point for humanitarian reason. I mean, all of us need uh, understanding of ourselves and of others. Here's another thing: establish an inviting and safe classroom environment. Some of you, when you came in, nag-umpisa na ako. Anong pakiramdam nyo? Parang you're suddenly apprehensive, oh no, ano na kaya ang na miss out ko, ano na kaya ang hindi ko, naku, baka may nalagpasan na akong very important. Ganon din ang mga bata. So establish an inviting and safe classroom environment. Here's a tip: if you, for example, you have synchronous class, let's say at 3 o'clock, please don't just log in at 3 o'clock, and make it part of the procedures, the routines of the students. Class, I'm going to turn on or I'm going to open the Zoom room, the Google Meet room, the Canvas room, whatever platform you're using. I'm going to open the room 5 minutes before 3, okay? Let's give time for people to log in because really sometimes it may take a bit of time. 5 minutes, you're going to be given allowance to come in. Okay? And then we have a routine. Each student will be assigned to lead a prayer at every start of the period. And then I'm going to, yan. So meron tayong routine na pwede nilang sundin. And then they can come in at any time in those 5 minutes. And then you agree with them. So, therefore, can we agree that if you come in at 3:01, you're already late because you should have taken advantage of the 5 minutes. Okay? And our objective is zero tardiness. Okay, class? Let's agree on that. It's something you establish with them. And then here's another thing. We talked about it yesterday. Um, do not forget that every student is a thinking, feeling human being. And the deepest urge in man is to be treated as an important person. Therefore, make it a habit. For example, okay, those 5 minutes, you can come in at any time. Acknowledge people as they come in. Okay, John is now here. You wait kasi minsan yung, 'di ba, yung audio trying to connect. Pagka nandun na yung microphone na mute, ganyan, yung sign na yon, ibig sabihin nakapasok na siya. That's when you say, John, good afternoon, welcome, thank you. Joanna is now coming. Joanna, so happy to see you here. Geraldine, how are you? You were late last week, but now you're fantastic. Good job. Keep it up. You are establishing an inviting and safe environment, and people would love to be there on time. They want to hear the greeting of the teacher welcoming them coming inside the Zoom room or the Microsoft team room. But yes, we have to find ways that we can make this online learning less stressful for them as well as for ourselves. I mean, really, how wonderful it is if we don't have to go through this. Pero wala, we have no choice. That's why they say teaching is the most optimistic, of jobs. Kasi we continue teaching even if this is an irregular situation. Okay, here are 5 ways to be a better teacher online. As I said, expect certain repetitions of some ideas because these ideas came from different experts, and I'm trying to pass on to you as many as I can in the time that we have. Establish your online presence in the same way that a student, if he enters the classroom, no one is here. Am I in the right classroom? Yan ang sabi ng research. On day one, three things are on top of the mind of every student. Am I in the right classroom? Is number one. Number two is, can I sit anywhere? And then number three, they want to know, what kind of teacher are you? Who is this teacher? I've never had him, her in my years before. I wonder what kind of teacher he or she is. Will he be a caring teacher, a terror? That's question number three. Let us answer it on day one by being very welcoming. And then that when they enter the Zoom room, the online classroom, we are there. And not only that, on certain days that we will not meet them, there is an email address that they can always send a message to if they need to ask for advice. Even better yet, there is a Viber group page. There is a Facebook group chat for the class. There are so many ways by which they can reach out to us should they happen to be at a loss about what they need to do, should they happen to be confused about what they need to produce, to do, to submit, to, because it really can happen as it happened in the classroom face to face. Some students may be absent, may not be able to attend your class, the synchronous class, may miss the orientation. That's why we are told, I think it's one of the suggestions here, yung synchronous class nyo, please record it. please record also your synchronous class so that those who are absent can catch it at their own time in another way. Also because hindi mo may iwasan, minsan, kalagitnaan ng lecture mo, ng synchronous class mo, something happens to their internet. But at least they know that they can access a recording of that class that they missed or that they got cut off um, from whatever LMS that you are using in your school. But yes, they have to know how to reach out to you. You even tell them the best schedule. You will even tell them, I will not meet you according to our school rule. I can only hold this number of hours synchronously, but you can consult on these days from this time to this time. Like a faculty room, like, right? I mean, the students during face-to-face sessions will know where to look for you if they need to consult, they need to bring up a problem, a worry. You're there to be able to answer their questions, to be able to respond to whatever it is that they need help in. You're there posting announcements. You may not be meeting them as often as you used to in the face-to-face setup, pero they can hear from you. They know you're alive. I mean, they know that you are there. In fact, that you know that he did not submit. The following did not submit. You have not received the following assignments. Post those announcements, post those reminders. 2 more days, guys, before the submission of this module, before the submission of this group work. By this time, you should have met with your teammates, etc. Better yet, if there is something that they can consult as FAQs, post where you answer frequently asked questions. What happens, sir, if I get logged out? What happens, sir, if I am not able to submit on time? What can I do to make up? What happens if, uh, etc. A post or a video, your online presence will make a big difference in their feeling of security na they're not going to be left behind simply because binigyan sila ng problema ng smart signal nila. Number two, give clear explanations. We will have a lot more like this because I think from 3 or 4 different experts on teaching online, 3, 4 different books that I consulted talked about give clear expectations, explanations. Why? Because they're on their own. Why? Because now they will have to do things even without you. Like in the classroom, we can always, okay, now bring out your book. Now open to page 55. Now we'll answer number, we cannot do that now. It will have to be, it should have been written already in, on Tuesday, your load is this. The asynchronous work is this. Now, don't just put there, read chapter 25 and answer the guide questions at the end. That's not specific enough. You're going to say, read about photosynthesis, which appears in this chapter. That specific thing. And then you will even give them rubrics. The expectations you have for their output are so clearly spelled out that they know exactly, looking at the rubrics, they know exactly where they stand. Expert, amateur, poor, 1, 2, 3, 4. The rubrics will guide them. That's why, yes, unfortunately, online teaching implies more preparation time. But that's what we have to do given the situation we find ourselves in. Better yet, if you want them to produce an exhibit, produce an output, present to them samples of exemplar quality, yung talagang the ideal kind of work that you want them to produce. That's very specific, that's very concrete, and they know exactly what they or what you expect them to be able to produce. Have an orientation session. um, an orientation session as simple as, okay, class, whenever you go online, please make sure of the following technical things. Now that I'm sharing this with you, you too should keep in mind certain things about technical things. For example, number one, that you do your best, that your camera is eye level. I mean, that you are not lecturing to them with your, like you are looking down on the camera because your laptop is there at the bottom. And then they see the two holes of your nose. I mean, it's not glamorous, right? And but sometimes you see that if you're not conscious of it. And then here's another thing: the microphone, built-in microphone in the laptop, for example, is not as effective as speaking using a microphone that either is connected to your earphones, because like most earphones would also have a microphone built in there. And I used to give my seminars just relying on this until somebody gave me a USB microphone, micro condenser, and it's a world of difference. One has echo, the other does not have. Talking to the to the laptop with the built-in microphone as your microphone is like nagbabounce yung tunog mo, and it's not as clear. And the students, some of them cannot tell you, but they have a hard time. They're only picking up 80% of what you're trying to tell them. So, uh, it's worthwhile investing minsan on a good microphone. Um, and my friend only got this from Shopee and Lazada. Uh, Before it was 1,200, a micro condenser, USB microphone, which is plug and play. And then now, sabi niya, they're even available now at 800 pesos. But if you're going to use it for the next 200 class days anyway, it's worthwhile spending a little bit so that you don't punish the students with poor sound, poor quality, etc. And then here's another thing that we are told by experts: you should be conscious of how you look in the camera, right? Because there's a way of being able to see it. If you are a silhouette because you are in the dark, or because the light is coming from the back and you are appearing like a shadow to your students, you're punishing them. It's not a very welcoming environment. You yourself will need a bit of an orientation on technical excellence in the use of the technology. I think there are other ideas about this. Uh, Master the technology a bit more. In the same way that when we were teaching inside the classroom, we learned better and better ways of doing things. We learned that instead of having to write by chalk on the blackboard again and again what you want the students to copy, aba edi lagay mo sa Manila paper para pagpasok mo ng isang classroom, post it, copy. Another classroom, another section, post it. You don't need to rewrite the whole thing. In other words, we get better and better as we get through our sessions. In the same manner, we look for better and better ways of doing things online. And then we teach our students. Class, please, um, mute yourselves because hindi mo na papansin yung kahol ng aso sa kapitbahay ninyo nakakaestorbo sa buong class. No? Have an orientation session with the students, laying down very clearly what you expect from them and how you want them to participate, to fulfill your requirements, etc. The tools, let's learn them as best as we can. I know some schools even require the teachers to undergo um, series of sessions on how to use the different Google apps that are available for teachers. Or in the case of those schools that use Canva, they learn Canva or Canvas, and others, whatever elements that you are using. Sure, it's added work, but we're doing this for our students because they continue counting on us. You need to orient the students, for example. Don't assume they all know how to upload files. They all know how to go about doing modules on their own. They don't know how the chat system may actually work, that you can actually send a message to everyone or to specific persons only, etc. So the tools, they need orientation. The course, they need orientation. They have to be given a certain understanding of where they're going, the direction that they're going, that they're where you want them to be able to arrive at, based on your prepared course, the syllabus that we want to be able to cover with them. And then have in place frequent feedback. I mean, even just, for example, in a class like this, every so often, you may need to ask, okay, did everybody catch so far what I've explained? The first 30 minutes that I've been talking here? So you are asking for feedback, giving them survey. How is the load right now? Based on your first week experience with all the teachers already having met you and given you the requirements, what is your how do you feel about the whole thing? Okay. And then frequently making polls. 4, stressful. 3, manageable. 2, light. 1, I'm not learning. So polls like that, to make the students give you feedback, so that we too are assured that, well, we're going the right direction, or we may need to change certain things that we do online. Scaffold student learning, it's just not the same as face to face, and therefore there are things that we cannot assume. For example, sabi ko kanina, the first slide that I showed you, not because these are digital natives, all of them are experts in video editing already. Not all. Sure, many of them use TikTok, which many times requires some bit of editing creativity. Many of them are content creators in YouTube, and just with their cell phone, they can film and edit. Yeah, but not all. Not everyone is in the same level. Technology expertise for some may take time, as it took time in the case of many of us, many of you teachers. Allow time for learning curve. I mean, really, it goes up like that. They become better, they become experts, but they start from somewhere lower. That's why it's okay to sometimes maybe give them first practice exercises that are ungraded. If, for example, your final output is a final video, good. But don't immediately expect them that they are already experts in being able to produce that video. You may need to start first with 1 minute videos to make, without editing first, raw video like that. No, so you have to take it step by step with them, as you and I also are taking time in being able to learn. But let's not uh, give up on it. Let's commit to continuous improvement. I'm sure your school is as interested as you personally are in doing better and better in this online thing. That's why maybe your school by itself has been making you attend seminars like this, or organizing your own seminars for better understanding, or to gain better expertise in the use of whatever LMS you are using. How to make, how to use Kahoot in your quizzes, or in your review sessions, or in even testing. If you're not familiar with Kahoot, well, you're missing a great deal of exciting, free app that is available online for teachers to be able to use. And worldwide, there are more and more teachers using Kahoot as a way of giving quiz or even just reviewing. Invest time and energy. It will take time and energy, but it's worthwhile, especially at the end of this year when we have to go back, let's say, to face. We still congratulate ourselves with the thought that, wow, I can actually now also start teaching students in England online. I can actually make a lot of money teaching English to Korean students in my spare time outside of the usual office hours, which, of course, many um, opportunities like that are available now for us teachers. Collaborate with others to learn best practices. Don't be afraid to consult your fellow teachers because they too may be exploring other better ways. That's why this year of this pandemic, you don't need to invite guest speakers outside to give you seminars in your school. Just your teachers, your faculty in the Zoom room, exchanging ideas, best practices that they learned along the way can greatly help many teachers. Participate in workshops and training sessions. And I know there are many publishing companies, for example, that are doing that as a service to their client schools for the sake of the teachers. Okay, 3:38 now. 10 tips for success from new online teachers. I mean, practically all of us were new last year. Great, John Robbins said. We're doing that in our school. Fantastic. Great schools would always find ways of helping each other, providing support for their fellow teachers. I mean, we're all in this together. All of us are learning and all of us are grappling every so often. We will be able to do a lot of good, assisting each other, sharing best practices, sharing new things that we have learned. Here are 10 uh, things from first year online teachers. After 1 year of teaching using Canvas, the teachers were surveyed. And here are the things that came out in their inputs, their advice. I mean, they were asked, what advice now can you give after having gone through that one whole year of teaching online? Number one, as I said, some ideas will come out again and again. And yes, this has come out again. Ensure that your course has a coherent structure and that materials are well organized. Why? Because some of these classes we need to give to the students will have to be given asynchronously on their own. They will have to access the video that you uploaded, or they will have to access that link that you just provided them with. Pero if they know exactly where you are headed, they know exactly why you are asking them to watch that video and to listen to that podcast and to is because in the end this is what you need them to produce as an output. It's coherent even if they have to do it on their own. Sometimes that's the complaint I have about some textbooks. I teach Latin. I used to teach Latin in the University of Asia and the Pacific for many years before I moved to Sri Lanka. And my complaint was most of the textbooks I saw of Latin, the Roman language, are not for self-study. Kailangan mo ng teacher first explaining and giving, getting them to have sense of the whole thing. Your materials should be like that, crafted for self-study, except for those that you are going to lecture synchronously, which, as I said, still find a way of recording them because chances are there will be students who will say, I couldn't connect. My Wi-Fi failed. Nag-black out sa amin. I mean, I keep on giving this as an example. In April, when I ran a 7-day series. Day one of the 7 days seminars, as I welcomed the participants, good afternoon, welcome. It's now 3 o'clock. We'll start. Thunder and lightning, and then blackout. I mean, brownout. Electricity died, and I was frozen in their screens. And we are supposed to be already the more expert than normal, than average, but we can also encounter unexpected things like that, a sudden brownout. And so I had to rely on, buti na lang hindi nawala yung smart signal, buti na lang may battery yung laptop, and so I could continue, but I continued in the dark. There was no light, and I couldn't stand up to turn on the light because there are 150 participants looking at me frozen. And so it happens, it can happen. And so we just have to cope and, you know, be able to survive a situation like that. Put extra effort into ensuring that students understand what is expected of them. Clear expectations, that was already pointed out earlier. But this is an advice from a first year online teacher. Number three, it's good to send regular whole class communications. In the case of UANP, University of Asia and the Pacific, where I'm a part of the faculty in English, we use Canvas, and everything is done there. You post something there, and all the students enrolled in your course will be able to receive the notification, will be able to receive the message you sent in their respective emails. And it's good on a regular basis to be sending out whole class communication, whether it is just to remind them about an upcoming deadline that you set for them, or uh, the some more details, additional details about the final output that you have asked them to prepare for, or just telling them this Friday is a national holiday, and so we will not. So communication like that, assure the students that you're still there, you're still on top, and they can still always go to you for advice or for help. Remain responsive to student nags, because there will be, as we too encounter snags technically, or well, they can also get sick, they can also have difficulties at home, one for one reason or another. Let's be responsive to students snags. Ask students to lead discussions. More on this later on, when I talk about we need to continue building community. We need to continue getting students engaged, and not just one way thing, not just um, lecture, listen to the recording, and it's just one way. No, we also get the students to actively lead discussions, or head a team, a group work, or be a part of paired discussion, etc. Active participation of the students. We will have to creatively think of ways by which they can stay flexible, be ready to adjust deadlines and grading policies even, and deadlines in response to student needs. And it is not lowering your standards. Again, I have to repeat what I said at the start. This online class is not just a matter of transferring what we used to do inside the classroom to online. Not necessarily. There really are great difficulties that they may encounter. You remember when there were typhoons last year that we passed through, and many schools were uh, humane enough to say, in view of the fact that some of their students are in the provinces that were affected by the typhoon, kahit ang UST ay nasa Espanya, mainit, walang ulan, but the fact that we have students in Bicol who were ravaged by that, we will not have um, the submissions. Those that are due for submission this week, we are moving to next week. That's the kind of um, arrangements, mindset we need to have now, so flexible and always thinking about the good of our students because, um, well, this is what we are here for. We're all about students, taking care of them, helping them. And as I said, I repeat, it's not about lowering your standards. It's about being more humane, being more understanding, and being more realistic, even. As you and I have also tried really to be very realistic in the situation that we find ourselves in. Be familiar with the My Courses environment. Make sure to preview your course as a student. That's a very nice advice, which was already given also by the previous expert. Put yourself in the shoes of the students, considering that normally a student would have this number of subjects to take. Is my requirement too demanding? Will eat up too much of their time that they will suffer one way or another with the other subject, whatever it is. Yes, Kritia said, I agree. Our school is very considerate about that matter. We have to be very humane, as the world has been very understanding with us as well. Even taking time zones and schedules into consideration, especially now when, well, in the University of Asia and the Pacific, yes, we do have students who are from abroad and they have to follow their classes um, from their different time zone. Some students will be unresponsive. Di ba sabi nga nila yung parang Zoom meeting, online class is like a seance, no? John, are you there? Uh, can magparamdam ka nga? Can you type something in the chat box? Para kang kumakausap sa mga patay, ano? I mean, really, there are some students who may be unresponsive because they are really like that, or because they're still grappling with technology, or because, sir, I'm using cell phone lang. I'm doing my best to follow the class, pero walang available na computer. My dad is also using the computer, or I don't have access to the computer, and I'm using cell phone lang. That's why I cannot even turn on the video. Some will be unresponsive. Have a plan for reaching out to them. And that's why we can also come up with ideas on how to get them working together, working with a partner, working with a group, working with a team. Pero I will have to talk about that later on. Provide timely feedback on assignments. Timely, sometimes even as simple as acknowledging that you have received their emailed submission. Okay, class, this is our procedure. Once you email me your work, I will be online from this time to this time, and I will acknowledge those that I have received. Okay? If you don't submit the paper within this period, well, I might respond to you the following day or much later on, but I will acknowledge those that I receive from this time to this time. Okay? Therefore, if you submit at 2 a.m., please don't expect to receive a response saying that I've received it. I mean, I'm asleep. I need to sleep too, you know. So, timely feedback on their assignment, and once they've submitted, we give ourselves as much time as we would need, but we do our best to be able to give them timely feedback, as in you need to repeat good job, or whatever it is that we need to tell them as a feedback on the assignments. Okay, this is Canvas, and they give us this. You see, there's so many things that you can do with your students, more than just, or other than just simply, okay, class, in the next 30 minutes, or the next 50 minutes, or the next 1 hour, I will lecture about that topic. More than just that lecturing, there are so many things that you can make the students do, make the students produce, make the students work on: blogging, vlogging, collaborative writing or story making, content production, discussion forums or text-based chats, e-portfolios, gamification, games. And it was mentioned also by one of our participants here earlier. Intelligent tutoring, like online teaching and assessment tools, often subject specific, live video chats, mapping, multimedia presentations, online drawing and drafting, plagiarism checking, quizzes and surveys, video chatting and conferencing, video creation and sharing, and more. There. Um, quizzes and surveys, video creation, virtual gallery walks, virtual reality scenarios, wiki building. So there are so many things that we can do. Sabi ni John, if the camera and microphone is off, sometimes it feels like kinakausap mo lang yung sarili mo. Yes, it's true. That's why every so often, go ahead and ask them. Okay, class, so far, 3, if you understood very well. 2, if you have difficulty with some items. And 1, if you didn't understand anything, type in the chat box. Those things are useful. Or polling. Zoom has a polling feature where they will click on um, how did you understand the first 30 minutes? A lot, um, substantial, a little, nothing. So sometimes we may need to do something like that. And at this point, I'm going to pass on the microphone to a very good friend of mine. He's been a teacher for decades. I think almost 30 years or even more than 30 years inside the classroom. He has an MA in developmental education from the University of Asia in the Pacific. And he was my colleague in that best school for boys in Alabang, my alma mater. That's where I graduated from as well, high school. Paref Southridge School before he moved to another Paref school called Northfield, which used to be in Quezon City and will now be in Sun Valley, Antipolo. And he has been very much involved in student activities, student leadership, training of students in co-curricular and extracurricular activities. And he's going to share some of his experiences in his online teaching. And so I'd like you to welcome um, Mr. Ferold Ruch Rehensha.
Hi, man. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, teachers. I hope everyone can hear me. Yes, I have been teaching this is my 31st year of teaching. 27 years spent in Southridge and 4 years spent thank you so much for the feedback that you can hear me. 4 years in Paref Northfield School. You know, at my age now, I never really realized that, it's a good realization rather that I could still cope with the young ones. And kasi I was thinking na I really didn't care about online tools and these things because I'm not really a techie person. But that's why when the lockdown happened and we were told to teach online, I was scared. I must admit, I was very scared because I am not a techie person. Yes, thank you everyone for telling me that you can hear me. But then I'm forced to learn. So my colleagues, okay, that's why I'm glad Mr. Rentoy mentioned that, were very helpful to me. So I asked for their help. What can I do? Kasi March 15 when the lockdown happened and we had to stay home na. And I had no knowledge, or if I had knowledge, I didn't really know what to do at that time. And my colleagues were very helpful, and I learned some few things just to finish the school year. And then the following school year, we had to go through training. And I was so stressed out. Good afternoon everyone. I was so stressed out kasi ang bilis ng turo sa amin. I don't know if you went through training also on how to teach online. At least on our part, we were trained how to use the Google. Google. Ang bilis ng turo ng teacher. I was thinking nga na baka iniisip ng teacher na or yung trainer na magagaling na kami lahat. No? And I couldn't cope. And good thing binivideo yung training namin. So I was able to review, watch, and really tried my best to learn. This afternoon, I'd like to share with you, okay, two of the, since we're talking about best practices. So what I made good use often were two tools. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. These are Google Slides, okay, and the other one is Canva. Okay, I'd like to see in the chat first. No? If you are not familiar with Google Slides, can you type the letter M? M for me. I'm not familiar. M. I'd like to find out. Kasi baka lahat naman kayo familiar na with Google Slides. So, okay. So M, there are 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Thank you so much. So, medyo, okay, apat lang. Okay, dami. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. What about Canva? Okay, if you are not familiar with Canva, kindly type O, the letter O. For OMG, I am not familiar with Canva. Okay, please type letter O. Okay, okay, okay. So at least kahit papano, there are still uh, people or teachers who are not yet familiar with Canva and G Slides. So allow me to introduce these tools that I used, which I consider to have helped me. And it was successful because I survived one school year using G Slides, Canva. I also, by the way, used Kahoot. And the others, like Padlet, I will not get to talk to you about them para mag-focus tayo on these two. Para kahit papano, after this seminar, when you go home, you can practice whatever you have learned from this. Good afternoon. Okay, Dr. Cordero, good afternoon. Okay, so allow me now to share my screen. Okay, I hope that you have Gmail, that actually you use Gmail as your email address so that it will be easier for you to actually use G Slides. Okay, let me now share my screen with everyone. Okay, so as you can see, this is my Gmail. No? So I want you to focus on the upper right-hand corner. We were trained to call that the pancake, not the pancake, but actually it's 369 dots. Those 9 dots, when you click them, the tools, the Google tools will actually, or the Google features will appear on that part. No? So you have your Gmail, you have your G Drive, your Classroom, G Docs, etc. You see in part of Northfield, we were told to use the Google Classroom. That's why it's easier for us to actually make good use of the G Slides because we make good use of Google Classroom. But don't worry, because if you have a Gmail naman, you could actually access these features, okay, on the side. Nandiyan na lahat, no? Nandiyan na yung Jamboard, which is a good tool also, by the way. But again, I will not discuss that. Then you have the Google Hangouts, you have YouTube there na rin, you have the Google Maps, Google Earth, and so forth and so on. But this afternoon, we shall focus on the G Slides. No? Okay, let me now click the G Slides. Again, I'd like to reiterate, I am not an expert. I'm just sharing with you the best practices that I have had, that I used this school year. Okay, and I was telling myself, choosy pa ba ako kung kailangang gamitin ito online. No? So I've decided to use this. Now, if you're a first-time user, matatakot ka siguro at first. Like in my case, I got so scared. Sabi ko, where will I start? All you have to do is go to the blank, okay, the blank slide. Click the blank slide, okay, and this will appear. Now, if you're familiar with PowerPoint, hindi na kayo matatakot, okay? Kasi this is similar to the PowerPoint of Microsoft. Kaya lang, I will share with you the advantages when you use the G Slides, okay? Now, I taught religion grade 6 last school year. Okay, so I'm going through certain steps which you can use in order for you to be able to come up with a good presentation of a class. So I'd like to go back to that lesson that I had on the nativity. Okay, so there are two ways in which you can put the title. Okay, number one, you can delete this untitled presentation and you put there the nativity. Okay, or number two, in case you have in case you forget to write the title, it will automatically actually put the title later on. I will show you the moment I put the title page. Okay, so I will put the title page first. Once you want to put a picture on your title page, right? Your first slide, go to insert and then just press insert and go to image and then either upload your picture from your own computer or search from the web. On my part, I always search from the web because wala naman akong pictures on the nativity in my computer. So just press the search from the web, and then on the right side, you see there a space where you can type what picture or what you're looking for. For example, say we're looking for the nativity photos. So I type the nativity photos, I click it, and this will all show up. Now take note, the pictures that Google will suggest to you are suggestions which are already filtered. Okay, so ito na yung na-filter ng Google. So medyo mas konti siya compared to the search that you will do if you go to Google itself. Okay, so there are two ways. Now, the first way is you search for a photo that you like from here. Okay, for example, if this is the one, I hope everyone sees this picture. This is the photo that you like. You click it, and then it will show the word insert below. Click insert, and automatically it will go to your slide. There you go. So ang bilis. No, ang bilis niya. And then you can go down again and see the word explore. There's a button that says explore. If you don't want the photo to be just as simple as this, click explore and it will give you choices as to how you want to present your first slide. I hope you teachers can see it. So on the right side, you actually see different options of how you want the picture or the first slide would you want to look. So for example, let's say I like this first suggestion. So I click this and I write the title, The Nativity. Okay, and then I will put maybe my grade level, grade 6 religion class. Okay, I'm reminded of what Mr. Rentoy and the others mentioned kanina about about when you get to talk and the how do you call, the cameras are off and then you don't know if he is really there, and someone says, I think it was Mr. Quaresma who said, I feel like mag-isa lang ako, no? So that happens. Okay, pero sorry, nag-segue ako. Naalala ko kasi nung graduation na ng grade 6 students ko online, and then I watched the graduation and I saw their photos, di ba, one by one, tapos nagkaroon ng class photo. Sabi ko, ito pala itsura ng mga estudyante ko. Anyway, I'm sorry, nag-segue ako, but just the same, no? So this is your first slide. Now, I'd like to go back to the title that you want to put since hindi mo pa nalagyan. You know, when you press this untitled presentation, lalabas yung the nativity. Okay, so two ways. So halimbawa, nakalimutan mong lagyan and then, uy, ano nga bang title nito? So click mo lang siya, lalabas na yung the nativity because that was the first statement that you placed in the first slide. Okay, so far so good. Yeah. Una, mabilis siya. That's the advantage. Pero you might ask me, sir, can we use PowerPoint pa rin? Of course, you can still use PowerPoint. Kaya lang ito, mas mabilis ang access. For example, let's say, so you started talking about the nativity. Okay, so this was Christmas Day, etc. Do you know the Christmas story? You ask your students. And then, you can now put a short video on the second slide. Now, again, this is the beauty of the G slides. Kasi, just for your information, I'm not sure if you're aware that Google actually bought YouTube already. Okay, in 2006, if I'm not mistaken, Google bought YouTube at $1.65 billion, no? And because of that, pwede kayo mag-access sa YouTube and embed your video in your G slides kasi may partnership na sila. Okay, subsidiary na ang YouTube ng Google. Okay, this is one of the subsidiary already. Kaya napakadali. No? Now, next step, I would like to suggest that you, again, press insert. This time, you click on video. And what did I click? I think I clicked audio. Pardon. I'll go back to insert, click video. Okay. There are 3 choices that you can do. Okay. First is search YouTube. Okay. So if you want to write, look for the story of the nativity, you can just put the title nativity there in that small box, and then YouTube will search it for you. Okay. And it's again going to give you several choices. The nice thing about this is it gives you also the number of minutes. So for example, the first video suggested to you is only 8 minutes. Second one is 18 minutes, then 27, then 17 minutes, and so forth and so on. The disadvantage naman of this is hindi mo alam talaga yung how the story goes. Okay, kung maintindihan ba ng bata, kung anong level siya. Okay, but I'm okay with this. No? So how do you do this? Just click the video. For example, you want 8 minutes lang because you don't want naman to make the whole video be the whole class already. No? So if you have a 20-minute class, like in our case in Northfield, 20 minutes lang yung aming face to how do you call that? Our enrichment classes na wherein you get to really meet your students. So imagine kung 20 minutes yun and then you chose the 17 minutes, di nag-video na lang yung mga bata. Okay, so let's say I choose the 8 minutes. I press 8, this video, and then just press select. And then from there, automatic, mapupunta na yung video do sa second slide. Diba? It's so easy and it's fast. And then if you want to make this a bigger screen for the students to see, all you have to do is stretch this. Okay, para mas malaki siya. Okay, now let me play this. Please tell me if you can hear the video. Okay, can you hear it? No? Okay, I think meron akong feature na hindi nalagay. Okay, share computer sound. Okay, my apologies. Okay, share. Now I play again.
Fear not, Mary.
Okay.
For thou hast found favor with God.
So there.
And behold.
Okay. Mukhang hindi ko siya masyado na stretch. So let me just stretch it further so that ma-occupy niya yung isang buong slide. Okay, so let me just stretch this. Okay, there you go. And then you can test it.
Therefore, also that holy child, which shall be born of thee, shall be called the Son of God.
Okay, so see, you're not aware of what the video will show. So curious ka, di ba, the nativity, but is that Jesus Christ? Isn't it supposed to be the Christmas? So ngayon, medyo may problema tayo. So there's the other option. The other option is you can now view first the video. So let me now first proceed to YouTube. Okay, so go to YouTube. Can you see YouTube right now? Okay, am I sharing YouTube? Okay.
Yes,
and then
sir.
Thank you so much. The nativity. Okay. And then this will be the choices that will be given to you. And then try to watch them first, okay? So for example, let's say, okay, I like this, 5 minutes lang siya. Okay, I think this was taken from the movie, okay. Jesus Christ. Forgot the title, is it a Christmas story? Something like that. Okay, 5 minutes lang siya. Can I show this to grade 6 students? Okay, pero nagkaroon ng actual papers, baka hindi pwede. Okay, so let me choose another one. Okay, let's say, masyadong mahaba. Okay, this one is Gabriel's message, nativity story. Okay, let's just choose this again, example. Okay, so you have here, again, the nativity, and then you tell us, and then pwede ito pang grade 6. Okay, so what is now your second option? Since you have watched this full video, and you told yourself na, pwede pala ito sa grade 6. The next step is to copy the URL. You see the URL that I actually highlighted? Okay, I now shade it, I highlighted it, I copy it, and I go back to my slide. And then in my slide, I put insert again and go to video again. This time, I do not press search, but I press by URL. And then I click copy paste the URL that I have chosen, and then go back to select. So very easy step. And then, bingo, embedded na yung slide mo. In fact, this is also very good when you give talks. Okay, di ba as teachers, sometimes we give talks. Di ba sa PowerPoint, medyo nag-switch pa tayo dati. Ako nag-switch pa ako sa video. Hindi pa ako marunong mag-embed. This time, embedded na siya. So, pag nag-talk ka, pag nagturo ka, nandun na yung video mo. Okay, and then you want to stretch this again. And then you want to, okay, you want to stretch. And then you want to play. And then that's it. And the students like it. Kasi hindi ka lang puro lecture. You also show videos to them. Okay. Now, next, let's say you want to now tell them about the Holy Family. So again, you go back to insert, go to image, and then search. Kanina, pinakita ko sa inyo yung search the web. This time, I'd like to show you what you can do, okay, to copy paste na lang. So go to Google and then look for the Holy Family photos. And then this will show. Again, mas marami ito compared to the filtered photos. Okay, let's say you want to show this particular photo of the Holy Family. Okay, so you just press this, then copy image, then go back to your slide and then paste. So mas marami kang choices. So hindi ka lang nilimit ng Google do sa search the web. Okay, instead you look for it itself in the Google site. So mas marami kang choices. And then it says at the bottom, explore. Press that explore button and then it will give you again choices as to how you want the picture to be presented. Let's say I chose this one. Okay, and then I put here the Holy Family. Okay, the Holy Family. And then the Holy Family is composed of course, the Father, Saint Joseph, then the Mother, Saint Mama Mary, okay, and then Jesus Christ, the child. Okay, now you talk about it, etc., 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 but then you want to embed music. Okay, you want to embed music. So you can actually embed music, but unfortunately, okay, on my part, okay, I just click audio muna just to show you the examples. Wala akong naka-embed na music, which is like a Christmas tune here in my drive. Ito kasing lalabas my drive, shared drives, okay, shared with me, okay, and the recent ones. So wala dyan mga Christmas music. So what I can do is I can actually go to YouTube again, okay, in order for me to be able to embed music. Okay, again, go back to the steps that I told you kanina. Insert, but go to video this time. And then, let's say, look for a, let's say, Christmas tune, no? Let's say, Joy to the World instrumental. Because you don't want maybe my lyrics para habang nagsasalita ka, may mga instrumental music sa background. Okay, this one, 2 minutes, the first video. Okay, I select it. Now, it will be embedded here. So, matatakpan yung slide mo. So, what you can do is make this small para mailagay lang siya dun sa side. Yan. Tapos, hindi na yan mapapansin actually ng mga bata when it will be small enough not to be seen. Okay? Or it can be seen, but hindi na nila manonotice because mas manonotice pa nila yung the Holy Family and the photo. Now you click this and listen. So may music na yung slide mo. So pwede ka rin maghanap ng, okay, just pause this. Okay, sorry, napunta tayo sa YouTube. Okay, so pwede ka rin maghanap ng, let's say, clapping sounds if you want. So I am reminded of my advisory class, no? So when I announced to them the honors of my class, I'm the advisor of grade 11, no? So after the first semester, they were so excited to find out, sir, who are the honor students in our class? So syempre ako excited din kasi hindi nila alam kung sino sa kanilang nasa honors. So when I presented the honors to them via G slides, one of the boys said, sir, baka pwede tayong magkaroon ng parang graduation theme. So you know how the kids are. So I said, sure. So right then and there, no, right then and there, habang nagsasalita ako, hindi nila alam, ini-embed ko yung music doon sa slides. Okay, so I look for pomp and circumstance, yung sa graduation march. So I embedded it in all of my slides. So every time, meron kasing feature ito, na every time, let me show this to you sa side, no? Okay, sa side kasi, yung music, meron siyang 3 options. Play on click, pwede siyang play automatically, or play manually. Play manually is what we did now. Now I played it, I clicked it so that it will play. But you have an option. Now once you click the slide, okay, automatic siyang magpe-play. So that's what I did, no? So automatic play. So when I moved on from one slide to another, nag-music siya. And then the boys were all like, wow, sir, ang bilis. Ang bilis, no? So it was so fast na nagulat sila, meron ng music yung bawat slides on the graduation march. Okay, so those are some of the tips that I'd like to share with you. Okay, and the last one is every time kasi I teach my class, I end with a song because it's a religion class, no? So I end with a song. So I choose a song which is related to the topic. For example, let's say since it's Christmas, let me insert now a video of, let's say, I click here, joy to the world, and then pentatonics. I don't know if you're familiar with pentatonics, but they became a worldwide sensation because they won this contest ng a cappella group contest, and they won, became famous. But now I haven't heard of them recently. So let me now, okay, select, and then I introduce pentatonics to the students, and then I tell them they're an a cappella group, so that we hit 2 birds with 1 stone, no? Or maybe even 3 birds with 1 stone. They get to know about pentatonics. They get to hear how a song, Joy to the World, is sung a cappella, and then they get to know what a cappella actually means. Okay, because some grade 6 students don't know about it yet. They're not so much exposed. So let's and they just the boys are like, sir, wow, now I know what a cappella means, no? So ang dami nilang natutunan, and you're just showing them a video of pentatonics, which is connected to the song of the lesson on the nativity. Okay, and on your part, ang dami mo nang na-present sa kanila in just 1 lesson and 1 day. Okay, in 20 minutes at least. That's how we do it in Northfield. But this year we are actually increasing the number of minutes. I think magiging 30 na siya sa nung nagkaroon ng second semester, the teacher suggested 30 minutes because 20 minutes is too short for an enrichment class. So naging 30 minutes, and the students appreciate it every time I end the class with a song. I teach them the songs that I learned from when I was in grade 2 at Latran, and I told them about my teacher who was a nun. She's Miss Bordeus. I'm not sure where she is now. I suppose I'm not sure. Maybe she has passed on. And I love her so much that we learned her songs, and I teach these songs to my kids, to my grade 6 kids. I pass it on to them, pay it forward, and they learn the songs like One God, millions of stars, placed in the sky by one God, and they're all like, wow, sir, it's the first time for me to hear this song. So ang dami mong pwedeng ituro using the G slides. And the last thing that I'd like to share with you is when you use G slides, pwedeng kang gumawa ng poster out of G slides. Okay, how do you do that? Okay, you just have to click. For example, this is the poster that you want. You just have to click File and then go to Download. Sa download, may mga choices ka. I usually tell my students, no, choose either JPEG or PNG when you download. And once you download it sa JPEG or PNG, automatic na siya, na magiging poster na siya. And then I ask the students to attach it in our Google classwork in the performance task. Okay, in the performance task. So that's the beauty of the G slides. Kasi pwede mo pa siyang ituro sa mga bata na pwede siyang gawing poster and that the boys can learn from it and then they can actually make good use of it pagdating sa performance task mo. I'll give you a concrete example of what I'm talking about. Let me now go back to, okay, these are my saved slides. Oh, by the way, another plus points for G slides. Automatic siya nagsisave. So hindi ka mag-worry na biglang nag-brown out, boom. Biglang, oh no, mabubura yung ibang slides ko na hindi ko na-save. Okay, or kung hindi mo pa na-save lahat sa PowerPoint. Okay, ito, the moment you put in the pictures, the photos, yung mga ginawa ko kanina, automatic siya nag-save. I'll go back to it now. Di ba hindi ko naman kinlik yung save? But look, I'll go back to, wait, I think this is the other one. Okay, this was the one that I practiced yesterday. Okay, this is the one that I did now. No? Okay, let me click this. And look, it's there. But I never used the saved button. Nag-save siya automatically. That's a plus point. Now, I'd like to, okay, go back to this. This is an example of a performance task that one of my students in grade 6 did. No? So it was about to be Lenten season na. This was the first part. Okay, I hope you can all see it. Now, my one big living sacrifice this Lenten season. Okay? So, ginawa yan ng bata mismo. And then you are sure na ginawa ng bata because tinuruan mo sila. Okay? You are not worried na gagawin ng nanay yung performance task. Okay? Kaya may assurance ka na siya yung gumawa because tinuro mo sa kanila how to do that poster. Now, that's it, sir, tapos na? No, because remember, he wrote something about praying, bonding with the family, okay, to be closer with them during the Lenten season. They are going to document that. And then the second part is that they will now show, okay, because ang una nilang pinakita what they're not supposed to do. Paano naman yung what they are supposed to do during the Lenten season? So they had to document that too. And they came up with a poster of it as well. Okay? So hindi na siya, PT na siya ni Ralph Itzhak Ignatius D. Umali. Hindi na siya PT ng ina mo. That's not a bad word. Okay, kasi yun ang joke namin noon sa Southridge, no? Even in Northfield, I would tell them na, sinong gumawa niyan? Obvious na obvious, nanay niya eh. So, okay, hindi mo yan PT. PT yan ng ina mo. Okay. my apologies for that. So yun, so you get to see now that this is one tool that you could actually use in many ways, in many aspects. I'm not going to go through the other areas, no, kasi I don't want you to be confused. Focus lang tayo doon. Kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, no, nag-training ako sa Northfield nung time na bago mag-start ng class, ang bilis-bilis ng teacher, tapos one whole day seminar, tapos bibigyan kami ng homework. I was so stressed. And believe it or not, hulaan niyo kung kanino ako nagpaturo. Dun sa alumni namin. Okay, one of the alumni, I asked his help. So I said, can you help me please? Nag-seminar kami this morning. Okay, and then after that, I reviewed the video. And then I realized madali lang pala. The most important thing is let's just focus on one task, one at a time, and then discover more later on. Because yun ang ginawa ko. Nung nasanay na ako sa slides, the officers of the school, the IT officers, no, would interview each of the teachers. And then they asked me, they said, okay, what are the tools that you have been using at the moment? Then I told him G-Slides. I told them G-Slides lang. And then they said, okay, let's not get stuck with G-Slides. Okay, move on to another tool that you can use. Kasi magsasawa rin ang mga bata. Okay, magsasawa rin ang mga bata ay paulit-ulit ka lang nag-G slides. Okay, so my advice, after this, look for another tool. Okay, my suggestion is use Canva. Okay, so since some of you also mentioned na you're not yet familiar with Canva, let me introduce Canva now to you. Unless you have questions with regard to the G slides, okay, I will now proceed to Canva. Again, what are the advantages of the G slides? It's fast. Mabilis siya because kunin mo lang dito, kunin mo lang doon, may mga suggestions na ang Google, may mga videos ka nang pwedeng i-embed, pwede mo siyang gawing poster, pwede mo siyang gawin a performance task for the students. Okay, so if you have questions, feel free to ask or just write it in the chat box. Okay, so far I don't see any questions yet. Okay, so I suppose that means you have understood how this is going to be used, and please do explore. And in fact, by the way, in Northfield, we have this Virtue of the Month poster making contest. Okay, and the students make good use of either Canva or G slides when they make posters. No? So at least natututo na sila gumawa on their own. Okay, let me now proceed to Canva. Okay, so when you go to Canva, you just have to type canva.com. Okay, I hope everyone can see my slide. Someone raised his hand, Mr. Quaresma. Yes, would you like to ask a question?
So may question po na. Hindi po siguro nakita. Ano po, sabi daw po if there will be a chance po that the video will be lagging in Google Slide daw po.
Okay, thank you so much for asking. You know, based on my experience, hindi
From Teacher
ako.
Janet po. From Teacher Janet po yung question po.
Okay, Mr. Janet, my apologies, hindi ko makita yung parang nawala yung chat box ko. Anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Quaresma, for letting me know about it. Miss Janet, based on my own experience, believe it or not, okay, 1 whole year, pag ginagamit ko yung G slides and I use video, hindi siya naglalag. And let me share this with you. When we had our student seminar online, okay, so meron kasi kami activities sa PAREF, regardless of what school, no, whether it's PAREF Southridge, Northfield, Westbridge, Spindale, etc., or Woodrose, etc. We have so-called student seminar where we bring the students to an out-of-campus activity. Okay, but this year, nag-online kami. One of the speakers did not use G slides. Okay, hindi ko sinisiraan ng PowerPoint. I'm just basing it on my own experience, what I saw and what I've seen and heard. Nung nag-video siya, naglalag. Okay, and then I was like, okay, and then bakit naglalag? And then what I did was, since hindi nakita yung video, because I think he showed a video on This Is Me, that song from the movie The Greatest Showman, because the talk has to do with the person, no? Or I think personality or the person. So nung pinlay niya yung video, hindi nag-play, nag-lag, and then he said, okay, sige, break na lang muna tayo. What I did was I actually got hold of that video and then put it in my G slide and then showed it dun sa activity. While they were taking a break, I told them, okay, you can watch the video now, it's better. And after that student seminar, when we had our meeting sa personal formation, I was asked by the teacher, okay, sabi niya, Ms. Arancia, what did you do? Bakit yung sa akin nag-lag? Okay, and then I asked him, what did you use? I said, Microsoft PowerPoint. And then I said, oh, I used G Slide. Okay, so far wala akong experience na naglalag yung video using G Slides. So far, at least, ano yan, based on my own experience, and hindi naman siya every meeting, but at least on those times that I used the video, okay, YouTube video embedded in the G Slide. Okay, di ko mahanap ang, I hope I answered your question, Ms. Janet. Okay, hindi ko mahanap. If there's a question again, please just inform me. Nakakahiya naman sa inyo, hindi ko makita. Kasi nandito siya sa button. Pero anyway, so if there are no more questions, by the way, when I attended this seminar in Northfield, when we were taught how to use Canva, okay, we were told na go to www.canva.com/education. Okay, because when you go there daw, and then there is a portion that says, are you a teacher? Okay, you can log in for free. Okay, so I'm able to log in, kaya diretso na ako dito. That's why when I click canva.com, dumiretso na ako dito. Because once you're able to register and log in, ito yung lalabas doon sa inyong screen. Okay? Now, there are so many, again, no, there are so many features of Canva. There's presentation, Instagram post, there's poster, there's logo, okay, merong flyer, card, video, infographic. Okay, meron ding, I think I mentioned poster na kanina, there's business card. Pwede itong gamitin lalong-lalo na pagka meron kayong mga performance task na ipapagawa sa mga bata. Kasi meron dito mga flyer, may brochure, no? Because I know some of the teachers ask the students to come up with a brochure as their output for their performance task. Merong poster, no, landscape, and then there's a certificate. Pag may nagbibigay ng talks and then you need a certificate, you just go to Canva. But then again, I don't want to overwhelm everyone. Okay? Kasi masyado tayo overwhelmed if I'm going to go through all of these. So instead, I'd like to go back to the first feature of Canva that I showed you kanina. This is presentation. Okay? Now, click on presentation because this is what I also learned, no? And nung una, ang hirap, parang overwhelmed na naman ako. I'm not techie, you know, I'm already old. I don't want to use this anymore. Nakaka-overwhelm siya pag nakita mo. But when you look at it, halos pareho lang siya to sa G-slides. Okay, halos pareho lang siya sa G-slides. Except that, okay, ito yung magkagandahan naman dito. Meron na siyang templates prepared for you. Okay, so if you click on the first feature, templates, ang dami na niyang mga suggestions that you could actually use as templates. Now, these templates, I'll show it to you later. As soon as you click on it, pwede mong burahin yung words, yung title. Okay? And make it your own. Okay? That's why, ang ganda kasi hindi ka na mahirapan. Gagawa pa ba ako ng slides ko? Eh, nandito na naman siya. Okay? Then the second, if you look at the left part, leftmost part, ang dami niya mga buttons, features, no? So the second one would be elements, no? These are the things that you'd like to include, no? If you want to put lines, circles, squares, graphics, photos, videos, if you want to embed it there, you can do so. Now, pwede rin mag-upload, okay? Ito yung mga na-upload ko nung binigyan ako na assignment before, kami mga teachers on using Canva, no? So I used my lesson on the fourth commandment, no? Honor your father and mother. And then photos, some suggested photos from Canva. And then the text, if whatever text you want to use, no, yung kanyang font. Okay, so you can choose a lot of font suggestions na pwede mong gamitin. And then audio, again, this will provide you with suggestions on what you can use or what you want to use. And then you can go to your own Google Drive. Like for example, if I want to use the pictures that we had when we took pictures prior to our family day, this was still face-to-face, or in my movie club, when I asked the boys to come up with their own poster of the character that they want. No, I chose the movie Coming Home, which is the story of Babe Ruth, the baseball player. No, and I found out just recently. Okay, segue muna ako konti. There is this Japanese baseball player who's now very famous. I think his first name is Oshi something. And I'm telling you, he is now making baseball famous again in the US and all over the world because of him. And he is being compared to Babe Ruth. Okay, so mukhang papalitan ko na yung ginawa kong DP ko, no? Na gagawin ko si Oshi. Okay, so going back, sorry for the segue. Going back, I'd like to go back to the template. Okay, let's say I choose this one. Let's say kasi back to school, malapit na tayo mag-back to school, di ba? Once you press it, kaya ang dami niyang suggestions on what you can use for your back to school slide or presentation. Okay, let's say I choose this one. Okay, back to school. Remember what I told you? Pwede mo siyang ibahin. Instead of back to school, you can actually click here and then you can write welcome back to school. Let's say Northfield Mariners, no? Because we are called the Northfield Mariners. Okay, so I'm done with my first slide. Now, let me proceed to my second slide. Let's say I want to use this one. Sorry, as a new page. Okay, sorry. I have to press the plus point, no? In order for me to add the plus sign rather, in order for me to add a slide. Okay, it says hello and welcome back to school. Okay, I want to change this again. The message to, let's say, hello. Hello, let's say grade 6, no? Grade 6 Mariners. I am Mr. Rehencia. Rehencia, your class advisor. Okay, so I'm done with the second slide. And then I press the plus sign again. And I go to my third slide. And my third slide is, we've learned from home for a year. And now we're back to school. Let's say I like that particular, I like this statement, no? Back to school. Back to school on a distant learning again, no? Online distant learning again. Okay, distance learning according to Grammarly, distance learning. Okay, on a distance learning again. Okay, so I like that. So that's my third slide. Now, what if you're contented to that, but you want to show this slide before the school year really starts, no? So you might want to show this na, to welcome them na, let's say a day before classes start. Like in our case in Northfield, we start on Tuesday. So let's say Monday, I want this to show this already in our classroom. Okay, so I tell them, please check your classroom and I have a surprise video for you. Okay, what? The boys will say, video? A video? Okay, yes, my dear teachers, pwede mong i-embed ang sarili mo dito as a form of a video. Okay, let me now show this to you to understand it better. Now, follow me, teachers. You see on the upper right hand, the 3 dots. Okay, click on the 3 dots and then go to present and record. Okay, but I have to switch off my camera because I am the one who's going to record myself. So if my Zoom is open, okay, so it cannot record. Okay, so I'll switch off my camera now. So I now press present and record. As soon as I present it, it says go to recording studio. I press go to recording studio and it shows myself. Whoa, I didn't realize I look handsome. Sorry for that, teachers. I just want to make you laugh. Okay, ang problema naman dito, naka-mirror siya sa'yo. So, ang tendency is, akala mo dito ka gagalaw, pero dapat dito pala, no? So, naka-mirror kasi siya sa'yo. So, what you can just get used to it, no? Okay, so just get used to where you're supposed to go kasi ako hindi pa ako used to it. And then make sure you look at your camera. Kasi there are times na I don't look at the camera. Instead, I look at myself or I look at you right now as I speak, my audience. So you just have to keep in mind, okay, see, I'm using my left pero nasa right yung fingers ko so hindi pa ako sanay. Keep in mind na naka-mirror siya. So, sorry, keep in mind that you have to look at the camera para pag na-record mo na sarili mo, nakatingin ka sa screen. Okay? So, let's start recording. So, I will now start recording. So, press start recording. Okay, as soon as I press start recording, it will have a countdown. Now, take a little pause kasi don't start right away kasi baka mamaya meron palang how do you call this, yung interval na may nagsalita ka kaagad tapos hindi pa pala dapat, so naputol yung sinabi mo. So give yourself like maybe 1-2 seconds before you actually start in the video. Okay, so let's say I tell, well, let's say I say, okay, welcome my dear grade 6 students. Okay, this is my surprise to you. So I actually prepared a video so that you will know who I am, and you get to see how Mr. Rehansha looks like, because we are again on an online distance learning. So you get to see my face. No? So after that, you can actually pause. Okay, halimbawa, meron kang, by the way, my suggestion is write a script. Okay, write a script. Don't do it na nag-adlib ka palagi. Okay, and then you proceed to the second slide. Then you say, okay, I am your class advisor this year, and my name is Mr. Rehansha. You can call me Sir Ruch if you want, okay, or Mr. Ruch, okay, or Mr. Ferold, okay, that's my first name. And you can tell them, no, that I am very happy because I'll be your class advisor this year, etc., etc., etc. And move on to the next slide, the third slide. If you want to just read it, okay, what you have written, then just read it, because it could be your script na, no? Because once you start the video, nakaharap sa'yo yung slides mo. So wala kang aalalahanin, because like right now, I can read it now. Now we've learned from home for a year, and now we're back at school on a distance learning again. So welcome, my dear mariners. Then you can end the recording by pressing this on the upper right. End it now, okay? Now, wait for your video to be uploaded. No? So it says there, uploading your recording. Okay, but if you're not satisfied, you can cancel and discard. Okay, now it will take some time. Umabot yata tayo ng 1 minute if I'm mistaken, but just the same, I hope you got to see the process. And at first, sabi ko nga sa inyo, medyo mahirap siya because lalo na ako, hindi ako techie, pero pag techie ka, I think you'll get used to this. Mabilis lang sa'yo ito. And so while waiting for the upload, let me now open my camera so you can see my handsome face again. Okay, I'm sure iba sa inyo nagki-cringe. Or Mr. Antoy is cringing right now. Okay, now you can see here in front, your recording link is ready. Okay, my choices ka. You may want to save and exit or download it. Okay, or copy link. Like for example, since my classroom na ako on my part, we are using the Google Classroom, I just press the copy link and then I press it. I actually put it in the stream of my classroom. Okay, and then I just press copy paste the link there. But if you want to see how my video looked like, okay, let me now share this with you. So I'm going to copy paste the link, press enter, and you can actually see now that is how this is now my video. Would you like to see it, teachers? The effect? Okay, I'll press it. Yes.
Now, take a little pause kasi don't start right away kasi baka mamaya meron palang how do you call this, yung interval na may nagsalita ka kaagad tapos hindi.
Can you hear it? Yes, and okay. So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Of course, you're not supposed to say those
pala
things.
Dapat, so naputol yung sinabi mo. So give yourself like maybe 1-2 seconds before you actually start.
This is what I mean. Wala ako sa center. Kasi nagsasalita ako. I was looking at you. I was looking at my audience. Kaya ganyan ang nangyari. So be careful. Now, if I want to change this kasi wala ako sa center and hindi magandang tingnan, then you can actually just watch the whole video and learn from it.
Okay. So let's say I tell, let's say I say, okay, welcome, my dear grade 6 students. Okay, this is my surprise to you. So I actually prepared a video so that you will know who I am.
This time, I think I'm looking at the camera already because I am now talking to my students. Okay?
And you get to see how Mr. Rehansha looks like because we are again on an online distance learning. So you get to see my face. No? So after that, you could actually pause. Okay, halimbawa, meron kang, by the way, my suggestion is write a script. Okay, write a script. Don't do it na nag-adlib ka palagi. Okay, and then you proceed to the second slide. Then you say, okay, I am your class advisor this year, and my name is Mr. Hensha. You can call me Sir Ruch if you want, okay, or Mr. Ruch, okay, or Mr. Ferold, okay, that's my first name. And you can tell them, no, that I am very happy because I'll be your class advisor this year, etc., etc., etc. And move on. Because once you start the video, nakaharap sa'yo yung slides mo. So wala kang aalalahanin because like right now, I can read it now. Now we've learned from home for a year and now we're back at school on a
Wait, Mr. Rentoy is calling me. I think that's my reminder to end my my talk now. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so my dear teachers, my last advice, you can also make good use of Canva for your performance task. Halimbawa, meron kayong newscasting na gagawin, you can use this. Habang naging newscast sila, nandun yung slides do sa yung sasabihin nila do sa slides. Maganda siya, or reporting. Okay? So I'll end now. I hope you teachers have learned something today. I'll stop sharing. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learned something. Okay, I can now see the
Thank you,
chats.
sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr.
Okay.
Hensha.
You're welcome.
We have 4 minutes left for our session. So I'll just give you the last 10 nota benes. Well, really, with so many available materials for us, 2 hours is not enough. But as we pointed out earlier, the important thing is to really get ourselves ready to learn and continue growing, because this technology really is a new turf for all of us. Okay, thank you, Mr. Rehensha. We hope we'll have more opportunities to be able to hear from you about technology, new strategies, new available materials for all teachers. Just last 10 ideas before we end our seminar today. Number 1, be specific, very specific. As I already mentioned earlier, don't just tell them, watch the movie. Tell them, watch 13:36 to 14:55, like that, no? You can never be too clear. Number 2, clarify tone and communication styles. Because really, generally, the students are very informal. So make sure you set some classroom communication guidelines from the beginning. For example, kung meron kayong Facebook page for the class, announce to them that every time they post there, post it like as if they're announcing it to the class inside the classroom. Therefore, certain things are appropriate, certain things are inappropriate. Number 3, continuously encourage engagement in order to counter itong feeling of isolation for both teachers and students. Keep your students actively engaged. Okay? Make them do group works. But I forgot to mention this. When we say group works, we mean everyone is made to contribute. Don't ever do what is happening in many schools. Group project. Pero isa lang ang nagtatrabaho, yung valedictorian. Tapos yung 4 nakikiangkas lang. But you give them all the same grade. That is unfair. That is unacceptable. And that is a scandal. I mean, we have to consider that as really a wrong thing to do. You're going to tell the class, okay, class, group yourselves into 3. Bakit 3? Because isa gagawa ng PowerPoint, isa magre-report, isa sasagot ng question and answer. Will do the Q&A. In other words, you group them according to tasks. They're going to do the work as a group, pero every single one has a concrete expectation, has a concrete role to play. Number 4, more is not always better. I mean, you've seen ang daming available materials for us, but let's stick with a few trusted ones, a few trusted resources. So, for example, you give them Google, you give them democracy, research on democracy. They Google that, and Google will tell them 5,000 sites in 0.07 seconds. No, you give them 3 or 4 reading materials that they will concentrate on, trusted resources, and then you make them write a reaction paper or whatever it is that you want them to do as an output. Be responsive, but set limits. I mean, we are not now on a 24/7 work, okay? Hindi porket online, ibig sabihin they can send us a message at 2 a.m., at 11:30 in the evening, and they expect us to answer their question. Set limits. Tell them, for example, I will be available from this time to this time of the day. Please try not to send a message, a Viber message, or even an email outside of this time. Set limits, establish routine. We talked about it earlier. Create a basic class structure from week to week for consistency. Number 7, create a separate space for your students. It can be a Facebook page, it can be a Viber group page, but find ways that they can continue interacting with each other. That space where they don't necessarily have to just talk about schoolwork, but simply like what they would do. They would go to the park, they would go to the canteen, and they are just free to talk about anything. I would even suggest don't be a part of that group so that they are free to continue with their exchange of the way they talk with each other. A separate online forum just for the students. Number 8, um, sorry. Okay, Number 8, don't forget the value of group assignments. That's a way of keeping them interacting. And as I said, to counter this feeling of isolation. But especially work that you will make them do broken up into different parts, multiple steps with smaller assignments so that you know that they're really working as a group um, as they progress in the school year. Add a personal touch. Help students feel more connected by injecting some personal touches. Post a picture of yourself or a fun introductory video like what Mr. Hensha showed us using Canvas or Google Slides. Anything to remind them that you indeed are human and you are there, you are present. And finally, this we emphasized at the start, practice empathy and compassion. Everyone is coping with this difficult situation that we find ourselves in. Try and assume the best of intentions, and remember that we are all dealing with this new normal together, you as well as the students, even if they are what we call digital natives.